All right, folks. New channel, new video, first video, and just want to really quick get into why your New Year's resolutions are likely to fail, right? So it is currently January 6th, 2025, if you can believe it, right? It's crazy. Time goes so fast. But anyway, I had this thought, and I go to the gym consistently, weight training. I do some sprint work, right, et cetera, et cetera. And I love it, right? Mentally, it sharpens you. It just keeps you focused, right? Physically, of course, all of those, positive things that it gives you, right? If you are not in the gym, I'd recommend it, of course. And the weekend after, right, the new year, you start seeing people trot in, right? People that you've never seen before, right? I go to a small town gym. There's not a whole lot of people that go. It's not the biggest gym ever, but it gets the job done, right? And you see all these new faces, and that's great. The problem is year after year after year, you know that they're going to fall off, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, etc. Right? And I'm just using the gym as one example. It could be literally anything. It could be starting a new business that you said that you want to do, supposedly. It could be spending more time with family, right? It could be learning a new skill. It could be learning the guitar, learning how to play the drums, singing. It doesn't matter, right? But the gym is one that everyone can understand because it's not honestly like a meme nowadays. It's like a meme, how long are these people going to last? Anyway, so you see them come in, it's getting full, etc. Now, if you look into the statistics, right, about half of Americans actually set New Year's resolutions as far as their goals or something they want to do, like we talked about. But you know that only 7 or 8% actually complete them? Right? That's crazy. That's such a low percentage. Not even 10%. Not even 10 out of 100 people, at least in America, will complete them. It's kind of bizarre, right? So you gotta ask, it's like, why? And I think there's a couple reasons. One, the motivation, right? Everyone wants to do things when they're motivated. That's when it's easy. Stuff's easy when you're motivated. You're motivated, you go to the gym, you're gonna lift some weight, you know what I mean? Or you're gonna run pretty fast. You're feeling good, right? Maybe you got a pay raise. It's easy. It's easy. But what happens when you don't have that motivation? What happens when it's rainy outside and you said that you were gonna walk today or you were gonna run? What if it's snowing? Windy as hell, hitting you in the face. Do you tap out or do you stick to your word? All right, because that motivation, as we all know, if you don't want it to admit yourself, it's still the truth, right? It's very fleeting. And you have to have that discipline, that's a better word, to continue to do what you know you must do, right? To become that person that you want to become, or else you wouldn't have had those resolutions in the first place. You wouldn't have had those goals in the first place. If you were 100% good with where you're at, why would you set goals? If you had all the money that you could ever want, right? Perfect family, perfect life. You lived in the perfect spot, in the perfect house, perfect business, right? Sounds ridiculous, right? Because it kind of is. Nothing's perfect. So if you're setting those goals, I think rather than, okay, I'm motivated now because it's a certain time of year. That's bizarre, first of all. Because it's January of a new year, which we as humans make up. Now I'm changing. Why don't you change in March? Right? Why didn't you change over the summer? Shed those 5-10 pounds that you said you were going to do, right? It's because we're programmed, right? By our society, right? It's a culture thing. But anyways, motivation is so fleeting. So building the discipline, not only does it take so much time to do, but it fleets also very fast, right? If you fall off, you say, I'm not going to do that workout today, right? Well, that becomes a habit. So just like getting in the gym, let's just say, I'm going to use that and continue to use that for an example, you start to fall off, one missed workout becomes two. The weekend's coming up. Have a couple beers. That becomes 3, 4. Next week comes around, Monday, I'm kind of tired, right? You see what I'm saying? So the discipline is saying, I don't give a shit about how I feel, keyword, feel. I made a commitment to myself, right? And maybe it wasn't just yourself. At least, hopefully, it's just yourself, or at least yourself. But maybe you made a commitment to your wife, or maybe you made a commitment to your kids, or maybe even your parents if you're younger, right? Maybe they're holding you accountable. One of the problems with that is a lot of people don't want to tell you how it is, right? I won't get into a tangent, but you've probably heard something to the extent of, well, you can miss that workout. You went 3 times last week. But in the back of your mind, yeah, but I said I was going to go 5 times a week. Right? You have to be very careful with outside, I guess the outside world, versus what you tell yourself and what you've, keyword, committed to, what you've committed yourself to, okay? So the motivation is not the way. Building the discipline, not only does it take longer, it's more difficult, but just like everything, there's a caveat. And this one is good. It makes you a damn beast. Because if you've ever had a super high level of discipline where nothing can get you down, nothing, you are unstoppable. The only thing that stops you is you, right? So why would you let that be fleeting, right? Why would you let that go? Well, life happens, right? Shit happens. Just depends on how strong you are to keep that going, okay? So the discipline is what you do. How do you do that? It could be actually sticking and eating the diet that you said that you were going to do, right? Maybe that's one of your resolutions. Cut out some junk food, okay? Now, me, personally, I'm a kind of cold turkey guy. If you're going to commit, just fucking commit. That's me. Now, some people do better weaning themselves off. Maybe it's cigarettes, maybe it's ice cream. I don't know, right? Everyone has a thing. Whether it's junk food, whether it's video games, just bad habits. And I'm not saying all video games are bad. I mean, you know, I played zombies, obviously. Look at the visual, but everyone has something. So being honest with yourself is infinitely valuable. And it's very difficult to do, especially nowadays. Because if the friends that you're with aren't honest with you, your parents aren't honest with you, your wife isn't honest with you, your kids aren't honest with you, it's very hard to be honest with yourself. Okay? But you have to be your biggest cheerleader. Okay? And that comes with believing that not only can you get this thing done, but you're gonna fucking stick to it. Right? Because what's the point of setting the goal if you know that you're gonna back out? Maybe you don't hit that goal. That's okay. That's okay. But you stuck to the day in and day out of what that would have required. Because you can't sit here and say, if I hit 80 or 85% of that goal, maybe it's money, right? I want to make 150K in 2025. Let's say you've only ever made $40,000 in your life. Maybe you're in sales. You're going to tell me that if you make 120,000, you almost tripled your income, that you're going to be mad that you didn't hit your 150K goal? Not a chance, right? Not a chance. Go bigger next year, right? Also, the notion that we have to set realistic expectations or realistic goals, maybe that works for some. I'm sure it does. I think that's bullshit. Because if you really want to win, and that's different for everyone. I'm just talking to people that really want to win. If you really want to win, you really want to grow and expand, right? Get better at your craft. Every day. Your goals have to be a little ridiculous at times. If you're saying someone to your goal, right? Let's just say average income person, right? And they look at you a little weird. I want to learn how to fly planes. I want to make $1 million in 2025. I want to learn this. I want to do that. I want to travel to this country and live there for a year. It doesn't matter. Anything when you grind against that grain, you get that friction back. It's usually just a look that someone will give you. That means you're doing something worthwhile. Right? Because if you didn't get that look, or you didn't get that, oh, wow, that reaction, right? It's probably not that big of a damn goal. Okay? Makes sense. So building good habits, not relying on motivation. Do not rely on motivation. Okay? Build those good habits, build that discipline, and actually celebrate a win, right? Now, I'm not saying like go to the bar and get plastered, or, you know, you were good with your diet and now you're going to treat yourself because you were good with it. That's just, that doesn't make sense, right? To celebrate a win, right? Whatever that means to you. That's, again, different for everyone. It's a little subjective, okay? Celebrate a win, because that's going to entice you to keep going. It's just like sales, right? You work so hard, let's say you're commission only, to, yes, make money, and that pushes you because you control that outcome. Well, you have your own life. You can control that, right? Reward yourself a little bit, right? Last thing I'll leave you with, kind of started rambling. But set goals that actually you value and that are smart. Because if they matter more to your wife or your husband or your parents or your coworker or your boss, if your goal matters more to them than it does you, you'll probably be in that, 92% that doesn't complete your New Year's resolution or your goal at all. Because you have to come before anything, right? Some people hear that and say, oh, I don't know about that. Think about it. If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your wife or your kids or your parents when they get older? If you don't have anything figured out yet. You can't. You simply can't. Take care of you, and everything else will follow. I'll see y'all later on the next one.